Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital, the Doctor Digital podcast. I have a special guest today, and I can't wait to get him on. There's all kinds of questions I've got for him. This will be Scott Shuford, who is the founder and chief engagement officer. Don't you like that title? For FrontGate Media, and is an interesting area that I really want to delve into a little bit more. Faith and family values audience. Can you imagine, folks? People are still going to a church or synagogue and what have you in 2023. But with that as an introduction, welcome to the show, Scott. Thank you so much for taking some time out. How are you today? And can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, doing very well. Thank you for having me, of course. And as far as my background goes, I went to school in college for marketing. So I am one of those, I think, fairly rare people that actually is doing what they went to college for.
Sure.
So all the way back, in my college years, I was trying to figure out which area of the business world I felt an affinity for.
Right.
And I had gone in originally, I wanted to own a pizza place, actually. And so when I finally got to college and had to pick a major, I knew business was where I wanted to go, but I didn't know which area of business. And so through trial and error and a couple of different efforts, I ended up in the marketing area, which I had a super passion for, and ended up graduating as the outstanding male graduate of the School of Business at San Jose State in 1989, to date myself. And from there, I literally went straight into marketing. I worked for Berean Christian stores, and then moved to Southern California to work for Frontline Records in the music industry, another passion area for me. And then about 7-8 years later, I started a full service agency, which was for the general market. And our clients were companies like Del Taco, the #2 fast food Mexican chain, or American First Credit Union, and several other kind of larger Southern California based firms. And about 3 years into that company, I realized my Christian market friends still didn't get this new thing called the internet. And so from there, I started FrontGate Media, and we've evolved over the last 20 plus years to continue to be relevant in marketing, serving as nonprofit and for-profit companies' gateway to the Christian audience.
Gotcha. Now, it's been a couple years since college, at least. So what would you say are some of the biggest changes? I mean, it's an interesting area because for so many reasons, not only the media, obviously, because things change so quickly in technology, but also what you're actually focusing on, the faith audience. So could you talk a little bit about the changes that you've seen since college and what has transpired over the years?
Yeah, it's interesting riding the internet wave. There's always innovation in marketing that is brought on by new technologies, and so having in essence grown up during the internet wave, and then existing in the next wave, which was social media. There is constant change in marketing. I mean, you can't go 3 to 5 years without having something that now you got to learn new. So marketing is ever changing, and there's really nothing that stops working. But the changes of things are consistent, and there are no. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I can't. So sorry for that. The refresh for me. I'm sorry, I got lost.
That's all right. So you refresh your memory and think about this a little bit. And I was thinking, because this is such an interesting area, both culturally and in terms of media, what would you say are some of the biggest changes that you've seen?
The biggest changes. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So
sure.
the biggest changes that we've seen are just there's constantly new things that are coming in. So we started with the internet with banners and emails. Emails was the first big change. It was just banners back in the day. Then we had email advertising in the form of ads and email newsletters, and then direct email ads. And then came the social revolution, and social media came on the scene, and that was a whole new thing for the internet. And it really just keeps changing constantly. So today we're seeing the popularity of influencers. We're seeing the popularity of podcasts. We're just venturing into AI at this point. So there's really consistent change. That's the only constant.
It's actually a little bit of ancient philosophy. The only constant is change, and that's the idea. Philosophically, that's really true. You can't put your foot in the same place in the river because the river is constantly changing, which is the point. So it's interesting because you did talk about AI and things like that. So I'm really interested. You can delve into a little bit. What would you say are some of the hot growth areas as of now? People are talking about artificial intelligence, chat GPT, and things like that. So is this the coming thing, or what would you say are some hot growth areas currently as we stand today?
The marketing world certainly sees AI as the next massive change. There's no question. We just attended Social Media World in San Diego last week, and that was the hot topic. That it is coming fast and furious, and what we see today is just the scratching the surface of what is becoming available and what will be available in the next year or so. So AI is absolutely on fire right now. It's something that the marketing world is really diving into deeply. Podcasting is still evolving, and I see the Christian podcast world as an excellent resource that's not going to go away, and is still growing. Podcasting has obviously been around a long time, but from a marketer standpoint, it takes a long time, I think, for marketers to find the best way to use a new medium. So podcasting is still in the growth stage in my mind from a marketing standpoint.
Sure.
So, and then of course the influencer world, that is a relatively new development in marketing that was generally attributed to the fashion industry when
Yep.
they started using these social media people with great followings, whether they were in YouTube and TikTok or just straight up on Amazon. I mean, Instagram or Pinterest or the other platforms. So influencers continue to be one of the things that are growing, evolving, and changing.
So it leads us into another question because I was thinking about this as you were talking. So for a business owner today, because this is what a lot of people are listening to the podcast because they want to know what they should and should not do. So for our listeners, and what would you recommend business owners to consider when they think of digital marketing or what you could do for them today?
It's really about first identifying your target audience or audiences. You have to know who your ideal clients are. Whether you're a for-profit company selling something or you're a nonprofit organization raising funds, you need to know the details about who your best people are. And once you know that, then you can figure out where did those people congregate. You want to reach them where they are. So, if you're looking for 60 and over, you're going to look in different places than if you're looking for, an age 35 and over mother, right? So it's very important to know who your best target audience members are and then figure out where they congregate. That's really the key to starting your marketing campaign. And then it becomes about consistent communication. So you have both your external audience, maybe you're going to create your social media page. That's going to have your external crowd when you advertise it to new people, but it's also going to have your internal crowd when you're posting to the people that are already following you. So it's important to be consistent once you've identified your audience and getting in front of them repeatedly with the core messaging that you have.
Right. So when it comes down to a media company, because that's what you do, what would you say, and what kind of expertise do you have in specifically to help or a business owner if they're interested in what you do? And that is what is it that you do? I guess maybe just even describing what a media company that you do and what kinds of expertise do you offer?
Sure. So, with a marketing agency, we are full service marketing agency. So that literally means everything. Full service means we do everything. And because 20 plus years ago, when I established the agency, I adopted the ethnic agency model, which is different from the traditional agency model. Traditional agencies pick two or three core industries like automotive and restaurant and
Mm-hmm.
movies, and they work just for those industries. They get clients only in those industries, and that's what they do. With the Christian audiences, I was looking at how I could help my Christian market friends out. I realized that that formula didn't fit very well for the Christian audience. So I adopted the ethnic agency model. So even though Christians are not an ethnicity, we
Yeah.
are a group. We're an identifiable group with our own language in some cases, with
Mm-hmm.
our own nuances. We meet in our own places. We have our own media outlets. It works. So 20 plus years later, that wasn't a bad idea. um, and so, being full service, we literally do everything you can do to deliver the Christian audience to a client of ours. And that includes public relations, all areas of social marketing, whether that's advertising within the social platforms, or we have our own Christian influencer group, our own Christian blogger network. We have our own Christian podcast tour service. Um, and then we do media buying across the whole industry. So radio, television, digital, print still exists. Direct mail. We do placements across the entire industry. We also have our own media group that reaches 10 million Christians a month through its websites, and then we have about somewhere over 20 million email subscribers across all our different lists.
Wow.
So, in addition to the advertising, PR, social marketing portion, we have full creative services. So we create ads, we create websites, we create video content, whether it's for social or for commercial purposes or whatever. So, uh, there's generally more thing. Nobody does everything that we do. That's the short answer to that. We do so many things that it's a matter of getting with each client to figure out what specifically they need based on where they are in their life cycle so far.
Got it. So there really is, there's almost a way of saying it's Christian and that's limiting. But what you're really saying is that, yes, that is it, but it's full service. So it really does address the needs that, all business owners have. But I mean, if you're thinking about who do you want to do business with, it's like, well, it's better to have somebody who's reliable and honest, those kinds of things that it's an advantage.
Well, and like with anything, you can hire any agency or any marketer to work on something. Everybody is good at something, right? But if you're reaching out to the African American community, you kind of want an African American team to do that, or at least an African American team member, because they exist in that world, right? And with us, our specialization in the Christian world, we know the nuances, whereas another general market type agency would need to learn how to create the right messaging and where to go for the right people. We've already done that. We exist in the Christian world. That's our purpose.
Got it. Yeah. So I was listening and watching a movie one time and I said, it was a movie and it had Christianity in it. And I heard a song in it and I go, that song would never have been played in that context. And I go, what you're saying is that you have to kind of know the inside game or else you're not going to understand it because they completely blew it when it came to the song. Somebody should have given them better advice for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It really makes a big difference when the team you're working with understands your world already and you're not teaching them from scratch.
Well, we've talked about the changes that you've seen. We've talked about the hot growth areas and all the hot topics and the number of things that you can do in terms of your expertise. How would a person get a hold of you? What would you recommend, especially if somebody was willing to take a look and try to just have a chat with you or see what it is that you offer?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is to go to frontgatemedia.com, which is our website. And on the contact channel, we have just a little interview form that anybody can fill out with some basic info that we need in order to follow up with you to provide a more custom list of ideas. So when you fill out that form on our site, on the contact channel, you'll immediately get a general marketing menu of different things we can do for you. And that always has a calendar link in it to schedule a call with our team. So it's a great way to get us what we need in advance of our conversation. And then you can schedule your own call at whatever time is convenient for you, based on the clicking that link in our email. So it's we found it to be a very efficient way to get some of the basic information that we need, and also get the potential client, a solid marketing menu that they can review ahead of our call, so we can get down to specifics of who they want to reach and which things they have the most interest in.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for coming on the show today. It's been a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that say, I would like to now get a hold of you because you know all the things that you do. So thanks for taking some time and chatting with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're certainly welcome. And if you've listened to the end of the show, of course, there is a complimentary website analysis. Just get a hold of me and I'll give that to you. Just any address. I'll take a look at it and see if I can help you out. You can get a hold of me at Mick, as in Jagger, except he makes more money, mick.smith@wsiworld.com. So until next time, thanks for tuning in today. Until next time, Deus Volt.